Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Boston Straight Shooters. I'm your host for this evening, Steve, aka Negative Ned. Frank is away on business, so we'll do our best as usual to hold down the fort for him while we're gone. This is the show we talk about the Bruins, the Celtics, the Patriots, and the Red Sox. Get you all caught up to speed on the goings on over the last week with the local teams. And without further ado, we're going to get started. We have a lot to talk about. Let me post the link so you guys can join the show. And we are definitely going to start with the Bruins. And there's exciting news there, but we have to backtrack a little bit before we get to that. So y'all need to bear with me a little bit here while I get us going. Unfortunately for them, they came out on the wrong end of the two home games last week, and it's extremely frustrating. It's extremely frustrating for them to lose two games at home when they've been such a great home team all year long. No excuse for it. I don't know what the deal is with them, but it's a bad time to lose two in a row at home. And we'll start with Game 3. Game 3 was a pretty decent game. I mean, it was tight checking. They were getting a few chances here and there, but they reached a point where they weren't getting any chances. I don't know. They scored. They scored and made it 1-0 in the second period. Tanner Janot scores. One of the last guys I figured would score. Puts the Bruins up 1-0, and they carried that into the third period. I mean, this is a game that they could have won. This is almost like the first game that they gave away. So they should have had this game. They Buffalo tied it midway through the second. They went ahead 4 minutes into the third, 2-1. Another giveaway in their own end. This has been an Achilles heel for them now, not just in the playoffs but all season long. You've heard me talking about it on here with regularity, and it lived up to form here, unfortunately. So they turned the puck over, and the new Buffalo Sabres Bruins killer is Alex Tuck. He scored the goal. He's been a thorn in their side now this series for sure. And there was some up and down and some tight play, but not good enough. Buffalo gets the empty netter, and they win 3-1. Jeremy Swayman was good again. Stopped 27 of 29 shots. Played 3 solid games in a row. Deserved better. And so for my buddy Danny over here, who I'm pretty sure is watching, there's your positive Pete with Jeremy Swayman for now. Just so you know, we're giving Jeremy some flowers here in the loss. He has not been the problem at all. You can't turn the puck over in your own end. I've been hopping on it. It's the worst thing that they do. The defense, they look like I told one of the guys at work today, they look like trapped mice. I mean, they just can't get out of the trap, and they can't get the puck out of the zone. It's been brutal. So it's not a good sign. Game 4 at the Garden. This is a game that should have pissed everybody off, not just the players, but all the fans and everybody else that's concerned as a Bruins fan. They got whacked 6-1. They were lifeless. Just a lackluster effort. Way too many turnovers in their own end. I mean, they just constantly gave the puck away. They fell behind 4-0 in the first period. And at one point they were being outshot 17-2. I mean, these are brutal turnovers and giveaways. Charlie McAvoy sent he was trying to pass it to his defense partner there. I think it was Aspero. Missed him and bounced off the boards and went outside the zone. And then Fraser Minton brought it back in, but then he got checked He tried to slap it off the boards. It didn't work. It got picked off, and went to Alex Tuck, the new Bruins killer, and he passed it across to Peyton Krebs, and he beat Swayman on the top shelf when Swayman was trying to get back on the left side, on the stick side, and just no chance, no chance for Swayman. Uh, tra- Danny. Danny says trap mice inside Ocean State job lot. That's the Red Sox, actually. We'll get to them in a little bit. Uh, the Bruins do have a few Ocean State job lot players, and I already expressed my displeasure with them in the offseason when they built the roster, so we're not going to rehash that. But, uh, you know, they give away the goal there, and then the Bruins were shorthanded. There was 6 seconds left, and Hampus Lindholm didn't clear the puck out. Then he didn't attack the guy that had the puck, and he lets the guy pass in front of the net, and it gets tipped in just as their power play was expiring. And Charlie McAvoy was covering the guy, but he tried to like lift the guy's stick or whatever, and it didn't work. And instead of like taking the body and pushing him out of the way, you try to do that, the guy tips it in. It's like, wait a second, how come you guys have been playing this game long enough? You're supposed to play the man, not the puck. You're not supposed to watch the puck. You're supposed to watch the guy and just move him. Charlie McAvoy is not a slouch back there. He's not a small guy. He can move people. He just isn't doing it. And so, another bad goal and another bad turnover. I mean, it's just it's nonstop. Here comes goal number 3. Jordan Harris, who was put in the lineup in place of Mason Lohrei, was no better. He was indecisive in his own end. Buffalo forechecked him, and the puck went to Zach Benson, who walked in all alone on the left wing boards, came right on front, came right in front of Swam and tucked the puck between his legs. No one's there. It's not Swayman's fault. I mean, yeah, maybe he could have made the stop there, but as far as like the turnover and letting the guy walk in, that has nothing to do with him. You can't have those kind of turnovers. You're hanging them out to dry, basically. And after 6 goals, they did hang them out to dry. The Bruins called timeout, as they should, when you're flat in your own building. It didn't work. Jordan Harris, yeah, he was a throw-in from Providence. I don't know why they would bring him up here. But Danny says we should go with number 20, who's Yokoharu. He was good yesterday, and maybe he's the replacement for Lohrei. He's a former Buffalo Sabre. Maybe there's a little bit of revenge factor there. People always poo-poo the revenge factor, but you kind of want to let the other team know, hey, you guys made a mistake. I like him. I think overall he's a decent guy. He should be less turnover prone than Lohrei. And again, I'm not going to hop on Lohrei because he had a good year this year. He cut down the turnovers quite a bit. He wasn't minus 44. I think he was a plus. I think he was in the plus, and I think he was double digits. So, again, a talented kid. I don't want to see them get rid of him. But in the playoffs, it's different, and you can't make mistakes. You just can't. And, he likes to take chances and go on offense. That leads to 2-on-1s and so forth. And so he's got to sit for right now. And then the 4th goal, another turnover in their own end. Their defenseman was up high, picked it off, passed it to the left to Bowen Byram, who was uncovered on the left side. And he basically had the whole net to shoot up because poor Swimmer was on the other side looking this way through a screen of guys. And by the time he got to the other side, he was trying to flail his way over. Yeah, the poor guy had no chance. I mean, just absolute disgusting. This is like, floor hockey or street hockey goals these guys are getting. And this is at the top level. I mean, they should have been embarrassed, and they probably were. There's really not a lot left to say in this game. I mean, by the time it was 6-0, they pulled Swayman out. He yelled something at the bench. Nobody can really tell who it's directed at, whether it was directed at the players or the coach. But he was definitely pissed off, and I don't blame him one bit. You know, none of the goals were his fault. Uh, so, you know, they just they hung the poor guy out to dry. They played terrible, and this is a thing with them at home. They've lost 8 consecutive home playoff games now in the last few years. That's awful. Uh, so that needs to get rectified, or they're going to be playing golf, you know, pretty quickly. And I thought they'd already be playing golf. So whatever they're doing now is a bonus for them. Uh, Game 5 yesterday. Yesterday's thrilling overtime game. They pulled it off. I didn't think they would. I thought they'd go to Buffalo and lose. They proved negative Ned wrong again, and you know, it was a good game. That actually felt like a real playoff game. Their skating and overall sense of urgency was a complete 180 from the game before. They looked like they had speed. They were hitting everything in sight. It looked like a typical Bruins game from back in the day. Oh, excuse me. You know, they were faster. They forechecked better. They got a lot of scoring chances. They outshot Buffalo 29-25. They out-hit them 43-27. They had more block shots than them. I mean, to credit to the guys coming back playing D. They did a good job overall. Mark Kastelic took a stupid penalty in the first period that gave the Sabres a power play. They cashed in, made it 1-0. 3.5 minutes into the first period. That was their first power play goal of the series. So, for as bad as the Bruins' penalty killing has been during the regular season, they held Buffalo in check. And Buffalo's power play has been bad for a while. So it's a combination of the two. But, you know, you take a bad penalty there and you let them off the hook. Bad penalties have been the Bruins' MO most of the year. Not good. Not good for them. You know, in the second period, Elias Lindholm scored to make it 1-1. He took a shot that bounced off the backboard, somehow it wound up in front of him in the slot, and he made a nice shot and put it in. And it's about time to see him doing something, because he really hasn't done squat for a guy that's making almost $8 million. You know, he has not lived up to that contract. Last year, he said he had a back injury, so I get it. But this year, he's invisible a lot, and they need more from him going forward if they have any shot of going anywhere. You know, there was a lot of up and down action. The Bruins were finishing all their checks. I noticed the two guys I noticed the most that were finishing their checks are Husnudinov and Alex Steves, who got inserted into the lineup for Lucas Reichel. So they had James Higgins in the first couple games. He wasn't horrible, but he's a rookie. And, you know, in the playoffs, everything ramps up. A couple times he got bumped off the puck. You know, not his fault at all. I wanted to see him in there, so I give them credit for putting him in. You know, I'll give another Danny. This is you another positive, Pete. You know, they did put the kid in there. You know, and then they had Reichel in the last game, and you know he's got speed and he's got a little bit of talent, but you know, I give Marco Stern credit for putting Steves in there, a guy that I wanted to see in the lineup from the very beginning. Because the Bruins have a habit of getting these guys that are goal scorers and burying them on the third and fourth line. He's been on the third line, but he's a good forechecker, and he had some shots. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see him back in the lineup tomorrow. In the overtime, the Bruins blocked a lot of shots, I noticed, again. So kudos to the defense for stepping up on both ends of the ice. And you know, they carried a lot of the play in the overtime until just about halfway through the overtime period, when David Pastrnak got loose on a breakaway on a great pass from Hampus Lindholm, and he did the fake out the goalie and put it by him. Great goal. It's finally good to see him get one. There's been some speculation going around about whether he's hurt or what's wrong with him. I haven't seen or heard anything else, but you know, there's always somebody from like sports radio or some report somewhere that, you know, he might be injured. And in the playoffs in the NHL, nobody reveals what's really wrong with them until afterwards. That would, if you go back to the year when Patrice Bergeron played with like a collapsed lung and a ruptured sternum and all this other stuff, they're never going to reveal what's actually wrong. So hopefully he's not hurt. And I enjoyed seeing him score. And again, Jeremy Swayman stopped 24 of 25 shots. He was really good. He's played good in all the games except for that blowout game. So he deserves a ton of credit for stepping up. Look, I understand last year I got on him a lot because it was a tough year because he had the contract holdout. He missed training camp. He didn't have a good year last year. And everybody knows that across any sport that when you miss training camp and you're not there at the very beginning, you miss exhibition games and stuff like that. When you come in late, whether it's hockey, basketball, baseball, football, whatever it is, it does hurt. So last year was just a bad year for him. Hopefully he's pretty much turned the page and he's been better. He did have a good year. I'll give him credit. He got 31 wins. And actually, he was named as a finalist for the Vezina Trophy this year as one of the 3 finalists. I still don't think he's going to win it. I think it's the guy on Tampa, Bobrovsky. I think he's not him. Vasilevsky, sorry. Andrei Vasilevsky. He's going to probably get it because he had like 39 wins and like his goals against average was better than Swayman's. His goals against average was like 2.4 something or 2.5, whatever. But still, Jeremy Swayman did a lot of good things this year. He I would say from the Olympic break on, he had a stretch. I think I profiled it here. He was like 11-2 or something in one stretch of games. So, it's good to see him. It's good to see him earning his $8 million. Let's put it that way. He has really emerged as a number one guy. And listen, I wanted them to keep him and trade Allmark because Allmark's age. So, it behooves him and the Bruins for him to be good. Let's just put it that way. I as much as I'm negative Ned, I really don't want to be on here poo-pooing that guy all the time because he's talented and he can step up and he's good and he's been good in 3 out of these 5 games here. Actually, 4 out of the 5. And so he's done his job and he's excelled. And so kudos to them. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. It's going to be tough. But the Garden will be rocking. The fans will be into it. And I don't understand why or how they can't draw energy from that and get the ball rolling and get a W. All right. We have a lot to talk about tonight. So watching the clock, we're going to move on to the Celtics. The Celtics yesterday, we'll get to yesterday's game, but they lead the 76ers 3-2. They won both games in Philly, and they lost yesterday at home. Same thing as the Bruins. The Celtics have had an issue going on probably 3 years now at least. Other than the year they won the championship, when their record was like 38-3 or whatever it was. Other than that year, every year that they've played, they've been better on the road, and they lose games at home in the playoffs that they should not lose. And so before we get to that, I want to talk about the first game that they played down in Philly, which I believe was last Friday night. So listen, that was a tight battle. It was a good game. Jaylen Brown, 25 points. Jason Tatum, 25 points. I mean, that's balanced scoring from them two guys. Those are your top guys. Peyton Pritchard had 15. And, the Celtics, it was a back and forth game. Tight, especially down the stretch. Peyton Pritchard and Tatum both made some clutch threes near the end to help put them over the top. But, again, they find a way. Excuse me, on the road. Uh, they were very good from three, 20 of 47. That's 42%. That's good for them. And it's, again, another one of those games where when the threes go in, they're going to get W's. When they don't go in, it's going to be a problem. So, we live and die with this. And I got to be honest, on Frank's other show, Box Seats with the guys over there, uh, we're all acknowledging that that's the way the game is. And I've watched a few of the other games, and they do the same thing the Celtics do. And I can't believe how much worse some of those teams are. I mean, they get like 9 for 40 or like 9 for 33 or whatever. Like they're just awful from three, and they keep shooting them. And they do the same thing the Celtics do. They get the rebound, they come down, the guy gets at the top of the key, doesn't look, just throws it up. No one's underneath. The Celtics, we've been hopping on them here, but other teams do it too. And I wasn't watching as much basketball before, but I'm trying to watch a little bit more now. And I just can't believe that the whole league is in this direction of chucking up all these threes when the percentages are so poor. I mean, to me, you have to be minimum to be able to take that many threes. You have to be minimum 35%, and your average needs to be closer to 40. And anything over that, 42, 45, those are pretty good. Really, those are really good, I should say. 42 is good for what that is. That means you're making 4 out of every 10. That's pretty good. But if you're making 2 or 3 out of every 10, or you're shooting 28% from three, and you still keep chucking them up like we do, it's not good, and it's very frustrating. And so in this particular game, they were good, and they needed them. They needed to be good, and they came through in the clutch down the stretch, like I said. And it's very satisfying to get wins down there. I don't know that the rivalry with Philly will ever be the same as it was in the '80s when the Celtics played. It was Dr. J and Andrew Toney and all those guys they had back then, Moses Malone and so forth. But maybe it's back a little bit. It would be nice if it was. And you have new guys in Philly now. We're going to talk about the next game where they smoked Philly in the second game down there, 128-96, and Philadelphia saw the return of their injured star center Joel Embiid. He played good for a guy that missed a lot of time. He looked a little bit slow at times, but overall he looked pretty good. He finished the game with 26 points in 34 minutes. I didn't expect him to play that much, coming off appendectomy a few weeks before that. So, good for him. But as far as the Celtics, Jaylen Brown, 20 points, pretty quiet for him. Jason Tatum, 30. 30 points, 7 rebounds, 11 assists. Peyton Pritchard, 32 points off the bench. He was 6 of 12 from three. And as a team, they were 24 for 53 from three, 45%. And so this is one of those where I want to say a couple of weeks ago they shot 13 of 50 from three, which is in the 20-something percent range. And now they shoot 50-something threes. Now they're hitting 45%. So that's the difference. And Philly was only 9 of 30 from three, and they only hit 30%. So not very good. The Celtics just, I know it's how they're built, but I feel like there's still no adjustment by Missoula sometimes. And I understand if they're going in, yeah, you're going to keep taking them because they're going in, you're hot that night. And so that I get. But when they're cold and everybody's cold and they keep shooting them, it drives me insane. And we're going to get to that in a minute. But, I got to watch quite a bit of this game, this blowout game, and I loved it. And so I I'm hoping for more of them. I know it's not going to happen, but it's definitely way more fun when they're mopping teams up like this. Philly, you know, uh, overmatched in this particular game. The Celtics just had their way with them. They did whatever they wanted, and you know, they didn't. Celtics didn't give them anything. They played tough defense. That's one of the things they have to do as a team, not just shoot threes, but they have to play tough on defense. And I know I've heard Jaylen Brown talk about this in a couple of the other games they played that were close. And he was like, yeah, we got to be on it on defense. And you can tell the difference, too, when they are and when they're not. When they're not, the other team gets a lot of easy buckets. They get a lot of layups. That's got to be frustrating for Missoula because it's frustrating for us to watch. And I don't know what the root cause of that is. I'm sure Frank could break it down better than I can. But, they need good defense in order to win games and not just rely on threes. And, I think earlier in the year, without Tatum, they did a better job of, changing course when things weren't working. And so now we're going to talk about last night's game where, they were up in the third quarter by 8, 78-70. Now, I didn't get to see a lot of this game because I was watching the Bruins because they were on the verge of elimination. So I didn't get to see as much of this game as I wanted. The one thing I will say I'm glad for, though, is it was on ESPN. And that's the other thing about some of the other games. They were on like Apple TV or Amazon. No, they were on Amazon. And it's a royal friggin' pain in the neck to switch back and forth. I've had these rants. I'm still going to have them because every single playoff game should be on regular TV, on cable or whatever. No games for the playoffs should be on streaming only. And I understand why they do it, and we'll get into all that again, I'm sure, at another time. But it's very frustrating and annoying to go from when I have cable and I do have Amazon, but to swap back and forth, you swap from cable to Amazon, the thing buffers around. You have to wait. You could have missed, a few plays. Come back, watch the cable, switch back to streaming, same thing. It's like the whole thing's just driving me nuts. I'm not going to do another rant on it right now, like I said, because we're going to have a chance for that later on, like in the summer when it's slow. I'm sure we will be talking about it again when the Red Sox are on Apple TV, which I don't have, which frustrates me too. But, nonetheless, these streaming things, people are going to miss games. And I understand they're looking at ratings and they're looking to draw interest. But I still don't understand why they can't have it on both. I don't understand why you can't have it on streaming and regular TV so everybody gets to watch it. I mean, it's the freaking playoffs. You're going to make a boatload of dough either way. You morons. Do the right thing. All right, enough of that. Let's focus on the game here. Like I said, they were up 78-70, and they gagged it away. In the fourth quarter, they shot very poorly. They only scored 11 points. They were 3 for 22. Oh, excuse me. 3 for 22 in the fourth quarter. That's brutal. And I don't even know how many points they scored in the last few minutes, but I mean, just can't have that. Can't have a bad shooting night like that. 11 of 39 from three, so they dialed back the threes. They weren't going in, but nothing else was going in either. I mean, Joel Embiid, another strong game, 33 points. One thing I noticed with him, now he was trying to take threes, and I think he was over 5. They weren't going in for him. He's not that strong of a three-point shooter. But one thing I noticed when he was inside, he was bumping Cada. Like one of them, he just bumped him, and Cada went flying like a few feet back, like 5 or 6 feet out of the picture. And he lays. I'm like, whoa, dude. As Danny said earlier about Higgins, hit the weights, or Lori, whoever he was referencing there. Cada's got to hit the weights. He gives up about 20 pounds to Embiid, and Embiid kind of had his way. And he has his way with Vukovic, too, who's, not the same height, but he is the same weight, right around the same weight. But he's undersized. He's only 6'9". He's going against a guy that's 7 feet tall. You can't, it's a mismatch. He's got two mismatches there. I don't know if Gaza could have done anything against him except draw fouls, um, but he can be a bad matchup for the Celtics. He has been in the past, and he's going to be going forward. So I want to see them be able to do something with him. Tyrese Maxey uh, finished with 25 points. I forget what Edgecombe, VJ Edgecombe did, but one of the other games when they lost, he was like 2 of 9. He was terrible. Couldn't do anything. But in this game here, Jason Tatum 24 points, Jaylen Brown 22. But Tatum was only 4 for 12 from 3, and Peyton Pritchard had 12 points, but he was only 1 of 5 from 3. Derek White had 12 points, but he was only 2 of 8 from the field and 0 for 4 from 3. There's definitely something wrong with him. Even the sports media people around here are like, hey, what's going on with him? He's off. He's been on. Listen. I think he's got the Marcus Smart curse right now. Excuse me. He's shooting the ball like Marcus Smart was shooting it. He's been bad, and I love Derek White. So I am not here to negative Ned on Derek White. I love him. He hustles his ass off. Even if he's not scoring, he'll get blocks. He'll get steals. He's a key cog in the wheel. And, I'm hoping for some better shooting from him because they're going to need it down the stretch. And if not, then I don't know if Missoula will consider, benching him at certain periods so we can get somebody in there that can shoot like Sam Hauser or Scheiman. And I'd say more likely Scheiman. I mean, Sam Hauser can shoot, but his defense isn't as good. Scheiman, at least, he's tall and he hustles his ass off on defense. Excuse my French, but at least he's got that going for him. He's as I've said on here, he's much improved. So he's got a shot hopefully to make an impact. But they have to do something about the threes. They have to, and I know they're not gonna. So it's on deaf ears. But I said this earlier, and I'll say it again. And I said it earlier in the year. I feel like Joe Mazzulla is doing a better job of adjusting when the threes weren't going in, when the ball was going through Brown, when Tatum wasn't there. Brown was the focal point. They adjusted everything around him. And I'm hoping that they're not going away from that, falling back into the bad habits of Tatum having to be the focal point and the field general, and doing like they were doing before. He has a habit, too, of just going down there and pulling up a three and having it clank. So I'm hoping for more of, him being like what's the word I'm looking for? Like the Robin to Batman now. Like, switch it. And again, he's the more talented player. Don't get me wrong. He's the number one, right? There's one and there's 1A. Jaylen Brown's 1A. But Jaylen Brown has proven on a number of occasions now he can be the guy. As we've mentioned before, after winning the Eastern Conference MVP and the Finals MVP the year they won the championship. And you know what? He's in the running this year for MVP. I think he's 5th. They announced the 3 finalists, and he didn't make it, but he should. Most people don't have a problem with the 3 guys they picked, and my argument on Frank's show with the guys over there is that the award gets given to the guys with the most stats. 32 points a game, blah blah blah. Well, that award to me shouldn't be that. What it should be is like, hey, if this guy was out for an extended period, what would the team look like? So the guys that got nominated, one of them is Nikola Jokic from Denver. He's the 7-foot guy that averages a triple-double a game. Granted, he's a worthy person to get it, but he was out of the lineup for 16 games, and they went 10-6. They didn't fall apart. The other 2 guys missed a handful of games. Their teams didn't fall apart. If Jaylen Brown, you're already without Jason Tatum, and your Jaylen Brown goes down, gets hurt, and he misses 20 games, what's it going to look like? Or if he missed 30 games, they're not making the playoffs. He carried them. I forget exactly how many 30-point games he had. Probably like 30 something of them, 30 or 35. He was carrying the load without Tatum, and deserves to be the MVP of the league because without him, the Celtics would have been in the basement. Um, that's my take on that. So look, they have Game 6 at home tomorrow night. Uh, same issue for the Bruins. The Bruins are actually playing Friday night, not tomorrow night. So if I misspoke earlier, that's actually Friday night. But the Celtics are on tomorrow night at home. Hopefully they can kick the habit and not have to go back to. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Game 6. Game 6 is tomorrow night in Philly. I apologize. Game 6 is tomorrow night in Philly. So maybe they can go there and get the W and sweep in Philly and win all 3 games there. That would be something. It doesn't happen very often, but it doesn't mean they can't do it because, again, they're better on the road. I don't know what it is, but I'm kind of hoping they go down there and smoke them. All right. Good luck, Celtics. Let's go. Let's move on to the Patriots draft picks and grade. I have the wrong list here. Hold on one second. All right, here we go. All right, so the Patriots made a bunch of picks. With their number 1 pick, they took Caleb Lomu, offensive tackle from Utah. I believe he played mostly the left tackle last year. He was graded as one of the best offensive tackles. He gave up 0 sacks on 382 pass blocking snaps in 2025. And he's a prospect guy, so he has to work on like his technique and stuff. But he's a good pass blocker for sure, and he needs a little bit of polish in the run game. And that's key for them, is to get a guy that can do both, because you don't want to make it one-dimensional when like, oh, this guy comes in, it's a pass. You have to be good in both. I like the pick. They stayed at 28. They actually made the pick for a change instead of trading it away. I'm glad they didn't do that. But, he's projected to back up Morgan Moses on the right side because Will Campbell is slated to be the starter at left tackle again for next year, rightfully so. We'll talk all about all that stuff when training camp starts in July. But Caleb Lemieux, if that's how you say his name right, he's the number 1 pick, and he's gonna be the swing tackle. He'll be backing up both left and right tackle, and I think we mentioned this before. I feel better about their offensive line because of the coaching, because they have much better offensive line coach now. Even with Scott Necky gone, who's the best, he's the guru. Doug Marone's a real good offensive line coach, so I think they're in good hands. With their second pick, now they traded up to get this pick, and I don't have the particulars in front of me what they traded, but they got Gabe Jacas, or Yakis, however you say his name, edge rusher from Illinois, at pick number 55. There's a write-up on him I'm going to read that I found. It says, Yakis is a versatile edge who is very active, instinctive, and efficient in his movements. He has everything that NFL teams look for in terms of toughness and effort. And this person says, I've heard from NFL personnel that he's been one of the A-plus interview guys. So, solid pick. I think a lot of the top edge guys went off the board in the first round. And the Patriots really did need to get another tackle in here. So, I'm not upset that they didn't get, another edge rusher, but they got this guy, and this is a guy that might be able to come in right away and play some snaps, and I'm happy about that. Every team has, all the good teams that have good defense, like Seattle last year, has at least one guy on the edge, and other teams have it too. We talk all the time about, when they played the Raiders, and you want to talk about, God, the guy's name is escaping me now. Jesus. He was the guy that almost got traded to Cincinnati. I can't think of his name now. Damn it. Or you want to talk about the guy that got traded from Dallas to Green Bay. Again, these names are escaping me, so I apologize. But nonetheless, good teams, most good teams have these guys on their roster. The Patriots have been lacking in that department since Judon left. So they need to get it. I thought with Keon White that they had that guy, but they misused him. I think. I don't think they used him properly, and so he wasn't a fit here. So that's unfortunate. Um, I'm going to watch the clock as we do these picks. So if I don't get to them all, I apologize. Um, with the number 3 pick, they at 95, they took Eli Reardon. He's a tight end from Notre Dame. The write-up on him is has legitimate 3-down ability with a well-rounded game that will help offenses in the run game and add explosiveness through the air. So this guy reminds me more like a complete tight end, like a Gronk. I'm not calling him Gronk, so don't start. Don't get on me, okay? He's not Gronk, but he fits more of what they need. Right now, the guys they have, Hunter Henry, as great as he is, isn't strong in the run game and blocking. They got a guy from Miami that is a strong blocker, and they need a guy to learn because Hunter Henry's getting up there. I think he's going to be 31 or 32 this year. He's been in the league 10 years, and I don't remember. I don't know how long he's under contract for. He may have 1 or 2 years left, but they need to develop another guy behind him. And this guy is already, I think he's like 6'4", 245 or 250 something, and he's already talking about bulking up. So if he gets to 265 ish, he's going to be strong as a moose, and he'll be a 3-down tight end, hopefully, and good in the pass game and good in the run game. I mean, I watched a little bit of the draft when they drafted him, and one of the things the draft guru guys talked about was his catch radius. He can catch a wide range, up, down, low, whatever. The guy's a big target, so I'm happy that they got this guy. He should definitely be on. I'd be shocked if he didn't make the team and they tried to sneak him through to the 8-man squad there, the practice squad. That they'd lose him, I think, if they tried to do that. So that'd be a mistake. Patriots had no 4th-round pick. I think they traded it away as part of the Yakus trade. So with their 5th pick at number 171, they took Karan Punti. He's a cornerback from Wake Forest. The write-up here says the Patriots need young and cheap cornerback depth since they will likely be near or at the top of the league in spending at the position, assuming they extend Christian Gonzalez. He has a knack for creating turnovers, recording 8 interceptions in college. So, he had 8 interceptions in college. I heard some sports talk radio guys, media or whatever, talking about, he needs to develop more. And he's kind of a project a little bit. But the write-up is dead on. They need young cornerbacks back there to step in. Last year, if you remember, the Patriots drafted safety Craig Woodson, and that guy was a home run. Started right away, started every game. He was a key factor on defense. They need to get another guy like that, either as a backup to Gonzalez if he gets hurt, or as the next man up on the opposite side where Carlton Davis is right now. So I like the pick. I mean, look, they're always going to need cornerbacks, and you want guys that have ball hawk skills. I think Christian Gonzalez has ball hawk skills, and I think that the way Belichick was coaching later on, when he had Ty Law and he had, Asante Samuel and those guys, he let them go after the ball because they were that good. But since then, other than getting, Darrell Revis and Stephon Gilmore, like anytime the other guys, younger guys would come in, he wouldn't let them go off like that. So I like this pick. Their next pick, sixth round pick, their first 6th round pick, number 196 from Jacksonville. Looks like they traded up to get that pick. And I should mention, I actually need to mention something here uh, that I forgot. The Patriots traded from 31 up to 28 with Buffalo to get Caleb Lemieux. So I'm happy that they did that too. I'm happy they didn't just sit there and do nothing or whatever, but they actually traded up in the draft. So I want to make sure I put that in there. Number 196 in the sixth round, offensive tackle Demetrius Crownover from Texas. This guy, this guy's a mountain. Towering figure at 6'7", 319 pounds, casts a wide net to cover up targets initially while bringing good physicality and effort as a finisher. These traits are accompanied by mediocre lateral quickness and upright play style and shaky ankle, which make it difficult to rely on him as anything more than a long-term developmental tackle with swing upside. All right, so hey, look, again, another guy that they're going to try and develop. The guy's 6'7", 319. Those guys just don't grow on trees. I just think Trent Brown when I think about this guy. And maybe he is a practice squad guy. Or maybe he is part of the team coming out of training camp as a depth guy. They're going to need him because, Morgan Moses got hurt and missed a few games. Will Campbell, missed 4 or 5 games. So you need depth. And I got no problem with them taking a guy in the 6th round that's a project guy and then work with them and see what they can do. Nothing lost there. I look at all these picks after the 3rd round as like, okay, these are a crapshoot, and either they're going to make it or they're not. You don't know what you're going to get, and I'm going to state the obvious again. Tom Brady, pick 199 in the 6th round, but there have been others. Terrell Davis for Denver, Hall of Fame running back, was chosen in the 6th round by them, and he became awesome running back. So there's players to be found there. And this is another guy that could be one of those guys. Also in the 6th round, pick number 212, Nnamdi Obiezor. I apologize for the pronunciation. Linebacker out of TCU. The write-up on him is old school, hyper-athletic will linebacker. He'll play special teams and back up Spillane, Ellis, and Britt. So here we go. Athletic guy. The guy that they had that they thought was going to be something, Mapu, they ended up either trading him or getting rid of him. So they definitely need some depth there. And so, Spillane missed a bunch of time. Ellis missed some time too. And Britt is the guy they signed as a free agent. So never a bad thing when you can get some linebacker depth. And they need a guy that has a high motor that can run all over the field and make plays. So I like this pick. Andy plays special teams too. That helps his case for making the roster. In the 7th round, they took, with their next pick at 234, Baron Morton, quarterback from Texas Tech. Looks like I'm not sure if they traded up or down, but Minnesota had held that spot. The write-up on him is he's an experienced quarterback who led Texas Tech to a first-round bye in the college football playoffs. He projects best as a backup with spot starting upside. He's effective, quick game passer with a solid arm and athleticism to make plays when needed. So he sounds like, 3rd-string guy. Develop him and see if he can beat out Tommy DeVito for the backup spot. Now, they just paid Tommy DeVito and gave him a 2-year extension. So, my thought is that they're going to be pretty happy with him for right now. But, excuse me. I don't know. You take a flyer on a guy that has, effective, quick game passer. That's what the Patriots, short game, dink and dunk, whatever you want to call it, style that we've had with Jock McDaniels here for 20 years or whatever. So, look, I like the pick. They need depth. They need talent. I'm really still upset that they traded away Cunningham to Baltimore and let him go. I'm still not happy about that move, but nonetheless, I'm just going to quickly mention who they got for the next two picks so we can move along. They got seventh round at 245 Jim Miller. He's a running back from Alabama. And number 247, they took Quintavious Hutchins. He's an edge rusher from Boston College. So another local guy. Uh, you know, I don't know if those guys are going to stick or not, but overall for a grade for the Patriots, I would definitely give them a solid B myself. I like the draft. I like what they did. They drafted for need. They got depth. So nothing to complain about here. Let's move on because we have to talk about this. And I'm going to tell you already in advance that there will be a soapbox. So it's kind of a good thing Frank's not here because he hates when I get on my soapbox. But I can't help it. I'm forewarning everybody. Frank, I'm forewarning you too. There's going to be a soapbox here because I know Frank is absolutely furious at this. The Red Sox fired Alex Cora. So Saturday when they got fired, I'm watching hockey. I have absolutely no clue what's going on. And Frank calls me and says, "Hey, do you know what's happening? Did you see this?" And I'm like, "See what?" I'm like, "I'm watching hockey. What are you talking about?" The Red Sox fired Alex Cora. I was like, "What?" I was like, "No, you're joking, right?" He goes, "No." He goes, "I'm pissed off." He goes, "I can't believe they fired him." I'm like, so now I'm scrambling. I'm going through, trying to find MLB Network. I'm trying to find stuff online. I'm like, they fired this guy. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, you guys are idiots. They are idiots. I'm sorry. They are just so stupid. I am so mad at this. I can't believe they fired him. I just, they are absolute doomkoffs. They're just stupid. I mean, what the hell? And listen, we've been talking about this now for the better part of 5 years at least, if not longer now, between Chaim Bloom and Craig Breslow, that this philosophy that these guys have brought in here, Alex Cora does not mesh with that philosophy, with these drive line guys and the way they're trying to hit the ball and the way they're building the roster. And so I'm going to save a little bit of that for later on because there's some commentary there I'm going to get to. But the Red Sox fired Alex Cora and 5 members of his coaching staff. Those members were hitting coach Pete Fatsi, third base coach Kyle Hudson, bench coach Ramon Vasquez, assisting hitting coach Dylan Lawson, and Major League hitting strategy coach Joe Cronin. They were all let go. And Jason Varitek, who was the game planning and run prevention coach, has been reassigned. As of that writing, he was to be reassigned, but I think he turned it down in the meantime. So he won't be staying with the Red Sox organization. So there's definitely a power struggle going on between Cora and Breslow. And Chad Tracy from Worcester has been named the interim manager. Sam Kennedy and Craig Breslow had a press conference on Sunday morning, like around 10:30. I watched it, and more of the gaslighting, blowhard BS that they typically spew. Sam Kennedy said yesterday it was definitely painful, but we felt it necessary, as we felt it necessary to take decisive action to achieve the goal of a fresh start for 2026. And I want to point out before I go too far is that the Red Sox won Saturday 17-1. I was actually watching the end of that game when they scored 10 runs in the top of the ninth inning. So I watched them wax them 17-1. And I was like, oh, they won. I watched like 2 minutes of post game, and then the hockey game came on. I watched that. And then I'm out of the loop and didn't realize he got fired. So I don't even know if he got fired during the post game show because I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, he got fired. And apparently it was predetermined. It was predetermined that they were going to fire him before Saturday's game. John Henry, Breslow, and Sam Kennedy all flew to Baltimore before that game. And they knew they were going to fire him regardless of the outcome. So they win 17-1. Everybody thinks, okay, great, good win, blah, blah, blah. These guys come in after the game. Nope, gone. Craig Breslow said it really comes down to the belief that we have in the players and the belief we have in the group to accomplish what we set out to accomplish. That's just word salad garbage. By acting today, it gives us 135 games ahead of us. We've almost got a full season's worth of run to take advantage of this fresh start and ultimately to compete for a division and a deep postseason run in the way we talked about and envisioned and believed heading into spring training. Okay, let me tell you something right now, dumbass. You ain't making no playoffs. Not with that roster you built. Sorry. The way you guys are doing this is all wrong. You have no shot. I don't care what anybody says. Uh, I've been hopping on these Ocean State job lot bums since Heim Bloom got here. And if you're going to keep giving Alex Cora chicken salad and ask him to make filet mignon out of it, you're out of your mind. No manager is going to be able to do that. Sparky Anderson wouldn't be able to do it. Tommy Lasorda wouldn't be able to do it. Jim Leland wouldn't be able to do it. No managers in the history of baseball is going to be able to take this roster the way you built it and turn them into a postseason championship team. No effing way. I don't care what you say. So I want to read some stuff here because I want to give as much of the facts as we can about what led up to Alex Cora's firing. Apparently, according to multiple people familiar with the situation, the move had been building over time. It was a culmination of misalignment that predate the current front office. Under Bloom and Breslow, the philosophy shifted with greater emphasis on metrics, roster flexibility, depth, and matchups. The organization moved toward a more measured, process-driven approach, one that also coincided with a reduced appetite for spending, which we've discussed ad nauseum because of John Henry, because he's being a tightwad. That left Cora frustrated, sometimes using the phrase "the roster is the roster" during his press conferences to signal his dissatisfaction, which I agree with him wholeheartedly. I don't blame him at all. The only thing I'll say is he knew it was going to be like this when he signed the 3-year extension. He had to. Either he had to know when he signed the extension and should have just shut his yap, making $7 million, or they flat out lied to him and said, "Nope, we're going to get you guys. We're going to spend money. We're going to do this." Okay, fine, I'll sign. So they have what they have 2 years ago. They finished in last place, and he said the roster's the roster, and I'm on here saying these are Ocean State job lot bums. You're screwing Alex Cora. Last year they signed Alex Bregman because they screwed up the whole Rafael Devers thing. He should have been on the roster with Bregman, not traded. They effed that all up. And so, I have a comment here from his last press conference. Might not have been Saturday, it might have been Friday night, and I think this is probably what led them to fly down there on Saturday. I think it was after Friday night they lost the game 10-3 or something. And one of the last things I remember him saying is, "We have a lot of young guys here, and it's my job to teach them how to play." I heard that and lost my crap. I'm like, no, it's not your job to teach them how to play. What the F do you have AA and AAA for then? That's the developmental league. They're supposed to be ready to go by the time they get to you. That's not your fault. That's their fault. So they hear that comment come out of his mouth. He's probably pissed off and frustrated, probably thinking the same way I am. And they're like, "Oh, we have to fire him now. We can't do it the same way. I can't listen to they can't listen to this." Right? So that's probably the nail in the coffin, in my opinion, why they decided to do that. And old school baseball, you have your lineup 1 through 9. You know who the starting players are at every position, every game. It's not a mixed match of, chicken salad over here and chicken salad over there, and this damn putting this guy over here and that damn putting that guy there. Like, they want to do it like friggin' Jenga. It's like, no, dude, pick it and stick it. So Cora wanted established stars at set positions and was tasked with maximizing the entire roster. One he felt at the time was either too young, lacked talent, or both, which is what we've been hopping on, and I'm going to keep hopping on because they're too young and they lack talent. So it's both. It's not one or the other. It's both. They're trying to build it as a small market team. We've been calling them out. We're going to keep calling them out because John Henry wants to be cheap. So he's going to back Breslow now. And it says, from the front office perspective, the program lacked structure and was not conducive to consistent player development. Well, that's your fault. That's your fault for giving Alex Cora garbage. And I mentioned this to Frank last week or another time on here. They're not teaching the guys down in AA and AAA how to play defense. They're more focused on the stupid drive line launch angle analytic nonsense, and trying to get those guys to hit. And so, uh, there's a comment here about driveline. They've adopted elements of driveline methodology in both pitching and hitting. Who's the founder is a special advisor to them. The hitting approach was met with some pause given the roster construction. The Red Sox, where is it here? The Red Sox promoted John Soteropoulos was promoted to hitting coach after Cora's firing. His background is rooted in driveline. Driveline. The sooner you guys realize that those guys all need to hit the bricks, the better off you're going to be, because these guys can't hit squat. I've been saying this. They get up to the plate. They don't know the effing strike zone. And you guys are trying to make guys home run hitters and launch the ball when they're not home run hitters. Caleb Durbin, the new guy they got, is a contact guy. Stop trying to turn him into a home run guy. You guys are dumb. They have too many punch and Judy single and double guys, and you're not letting them do it. You're trying to get them to hit home runs. You're stupid. This whole philosophy is stupid. Breslow and driveline emphasize pulling the ball in the air, and some in the organization question whether that approach fits the current group of hitters. Somebody said if we're telling the truth, a lot of the young guys don't buy into any of that bleep. So listen, you're trying to develop the young guys like Christian Campbell, who was here last year, had a good April, then fell off the wagon. They put him back in Worcester. He had a bad year. Now he's hitting 277 down there. But he's got one home run. He's a contact guy. He's never going to be a 25, 30 home run guy. You're trying to make something that's not there. So I blame you. I don't blame Alex Cora. I'm pissed off at this. And I heard that the Phillies fired their manager because they're in last place. They had lost 10 in a row. I think they had 9-19 or something like that, 9-20. They fired the manager, and Dave Dombrowski, who was the GM here before he got fired, called Alex Cora the next day and asked him if he wanted to be the manager, and Alex Cora turned him down because he said he wanted to spend time with his family, which is smart by Alex Cora for not jumping right back in, because if the Phillies finish in last place, you don't know if Dombrowski's going to be there, and then you're going to be there with no GM again, and then you're right back to square one. And I said this when they hired Breslow, that it's very rare that you hire a baseball CEO or GM and the manager's already there. They like to pick their own guys. I knew that this was not going to work. I knew it wasn't going to work the way they were constructing the roster and all that whole 9 yards. And it hasn't worked. And they got lucky last year that they made the playoffs. And I attribute that to Alex Cora working with the chicken salad he was given. He's a damn good manager. He's going to go to Philadelphia or somewhere else, and maybe even the Yankees, because I wouldn't be surprised if the Yankees don't win the World Series or do well in the playoffs, that Aaron Boone's going to get the axe. And the first guy they're going to call is Alex Cora. So he's either going to Philly or he's going to New York or, maybe even the Mets, but they're a bleep show too. So I don't know if he wants any part of that, but this is unbelievable. I have one more comment here I need to read. It says, I think Craig's back is against the wall. If he's going to go down, he's going to go down his own way. And it says that Breslow wanted to fire these coaches last season, and Alex Bregman stopped the firings. So now that just tells you who the real leader in the clubhouse was. They don't have any leaders in the clubhouse now. They got rid of Alex Bregman. He's gone. Now Trevor Story's trying to be the voice. He voiced his displeasure about the firings and said, we weren't told about it. No one talked to us. Not happy, blah, blah. So apparently he sat out the first 2 games when the new guy took over, and he had a chat with Breslow, I guess, and, they cleared the air or came to an understanding or whatever the hell they came to. But this is a friggin' disgrace, and this reminds me now of the Red Sox in the 80s when they were run by friggin' Hayward Sullivan, and they were a bleep show then with much talented, more roster than this garbage. So stay tuned. They did good. They won the first 2 games under the new guy, but they lost the last 2. They got beat today 8-1. I can't get into it too much now because I overran. I told you there was going to be a soapbox, and the soapbox is done. We need to move on to the poll questions. So poll questions we had last week. Let me find them. Give me a second. Where are we? Here we go. I have two. How do you feel about Alex Cora being fired as the manager? He was wronged 75%. Podcast overtime. Yeah, that's right, Danny. Only when Frank's not here. Uh, it's allowed. And B was he needed to go 25%. I don't know who voted for that. He didn't need to go, in my opinion. Breslow needs to go, and so does Sam Kennedy. But I'm going to say this real quick. My new nicknames for Sam Kennedy and Breslow are and John Henry. John Henry is Monty Burns from The Simpsons. He's doing this, counting his money. And Sam Kennedy is Smithers. He's the suck-up sidekick that kiss ass. And Craig Breslow is Krusty the Clown because it's a freaking clown show down there. Those three buffoons, they're screwed. Next poll question: what grade would you give the Red Sox? What grade would you give the Patriots for their 2026 draft picks? We had A, 0, B, 100%. We had C and D, nothing there. Everybody thought they deserved a B, and that was pretty much spot on. Now the weekly predictions. Last week's predictions we had. Okay. I said the Bruins are going to win the next two games at home. Wrong. I can't believe how badly they sucked there. The Patriots move up in the draft to like 20. I was wrong. They only moved up a few spots, but they did move up. So I'm going to give myself a half a pat on the back for that. They didn't go up as far as I thought they would, but they did move up. The Celtics win the next two games on the road. Ding, ding, ding. They beat Philly those two games. Red Sox get swept by Yankees and win two of their next six. I was only half right. They did get swept by the Yankees, but they took 2 of 3 from Baltimore, and they won the first game versus Toronto, so they actually won 3 out of 6. So I was wrong there. Frank's predictions, he said the Patriots were going to do something at the draft that could see them trading down. Wrong. Sorry, Frank. He said the Red Sox might go 0-8 or 1-7. Wrong. He said the Bruins would split in Boston. Wrong. Poor Frank. He did say that they would win both games in Philly and that they would beat the brakes off of them in the next game. Ding, ding, ding. For Frank. Yeah, you got that right. They did beat the brakes off of them in one of those games, and they did win both games down there. So there's those. This week's predictions. Danny's going to hate this, and so are many of you. Bruins lose tomorrow night. Break out the golf clubs. They're done. They're going to lose on home ice again. Buffalo's going to figure it out in advance, and the Bruins are going to be done. There's one. The Red Sox, and now I'm rooting for this. I hope they lose their next 6 or 7 games, whatever they're playing. I hope they crap out completely. And it's not the players' fault. I don't blame them, and I don't blame the manager. But now I am actively rooting against John Henry, Sam Kennedy, and Craig Breslow. I want them to listen, I'm going to – I don't know if this is ever going to come true, but here's the new curse. 86 years before they win another freaking World Series with these a-holes running the show. Okay? So I say they lose every game the next week. And they lost Garrett Crochet today. He went on the DL. Their best pitcher went on the DL with the inflamed shoulder. Brian Bale gave up 4 runs in 3 innings yesterday. He's been awful. His ERA is over 9. They're not going anywhere. They're done. Cooked. Patriots, I hate to do this because everybody's sick of it, but there's going to be another Mike Vrabel nugget next week somehow. Somebody's gonna leak out something else because they've been slowly leaking crap every week now, and I hate that. And I say the Celtics win in Philly tomorrow night and beat those guys. And then if they have any games in the next round, they'll win the first game if they have any. So there's all the predictions. That's it for the show. I want to thank you all for watching. I want to thank you all for watching. I want to thank you for all the support. Thanks for voting on the polls. Be sure to catch us on our YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe. And we'll see you all back here next week.